everyone, it's me, Jess. Look, this is so sad. Granola basically took the lenses out of my glasses. Like, he takes my glasses. I know that this isn't a video, it's supposed to be about granola, but basically I have to take the lens out of one pair of glasses, put it in the other glasses so that I can have a complete pair of glasses. This dog is a... See, look. There's a lens in this. Oh, I just put myself in the eye. But then if I put these on, I have clothes. Things are getting a little crazy around here. I can't even get these out now. Whoops. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. She's gonna have a full pair of glasses. Hang on. Don't you touch my glasses! Oh my god. Can I get them again? I'm so impatient. Too well. Okay, we're going with it. We're going with it. It's me, Jess. Hope everyone is doing very well. This is a double filming video day. I just filmed a video about my participation in the BookTube Prize. I just found out that I'm going to be judging in the Octo finals. Is it called Octo finals? I think so. Round of the BookTube Prize. I'm very excited. I am going to be adding 2 books to my TBR. Oh, let me just hit that list. So I'm going to be reading 2 books from that grouping in February, and I'm going to be reading 3 books from that grouping in March. I've already read one of the books in my grouping, The Bee Sting, so I'm not going to be rereading that. I'm very excited. I'm so excited. So I'll talk about those first. And I want to talk a little bit about the Canada Reads shortlist. Then I'm going to talk about some possibilities out from the library. I'll talk about what I'm going to be reading for the TBR Spin and Rick's BookTube Spin. I think that's everything. Oh, and I have a book for my book club and a book for Scott's book club. A lot of book club books. We're going to see if everything happens. I'm definitely committed to reading as many of these books as possible, but first, let's start with the main agenda, the main book, the book that is absolutely happening because I am the host of the buddy read for this book. We are starting in February. I have a really nice group of people who've decided to join me in reading The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. It's very timely because, of course, it's Black History Month, and I'm just really looking forward to doing this. I'm going to put the schedule actually in the description box below if any of you just want to follow along. You can join in the Voxer if you want. Just send me a message on Voxer and I will add you to the group. We're a good group. I think we're 6 people in the group or something like that. And I think it's going to be really interesting. I've divided the Readalong into about 100 pages a week because I think that's fairly manageable. The book is almost 600 pages, so it's going to be over 6 weeks starting the weekend of February 17th. The Invisible Man, it's about a Black man's experience at a very specific time in American history. It was first published in 1952, and it takes this protagonist from the Deep South, it says, to the streets and basements of Harlem. Ralph Ellison's nightmare journey across the racial divide tells the unparalleled truths about the nature of bigotry and its effects on the minds of both victims and perpetrators. It gives us an entirely new model of what a novel can be. I think it's going to be really fantastic, and I just can't wait. So please join us if you're interested. All of the information is linked in the description box below. You can just send me a message on Voxer and I will add you to the group. Then, can we just talk about Canada Reads for a minute? Because I am completely miffed. I haven't been following Canada Reads for that long, and I admit, I guess, that I'm like, it's not something that, you know, I did follow last year and I was interested last year, and then this year I wouldn't say that the long list was amazing, but there were some interesting books on that list. Well, Sunshine Nails was on that list and I read it this summer. Canada Reads, I don't even know what to say. It's funny because I haven't seen much of a reaction online to the Canada Reads shortlist. I guess I'm waiting for Jolene's thoughts. But So there were some books on the long list. Reuniting with Strangers looked really good to me. I just read Junie with my book club, and I think most people really liked it. The Innocents was on the long list, but didn't make it to the short list. So we have this short list that I'm not feeling that excited about, I have to be honest. We have Meet Me at the Lake, which is a romance. It's just not my thing. We have Denison Avenue, which is about Kensington Market in Toronto. I mean, it looks good, but I'm not sure that it would have been one of the ones I'd be most excited about to read from the long list. I have The Future, which is speculative fiction about what would have happened if the French had won the territory that is now Detroit. I don't know, just doesn't look that interesting to me. Shut Up, You're Pretty, I'm interested in. It's a collection of short stories. That's 4. So I guess I'm just kind of surprised. Like, I'm kind of surprised at the ones that made it to the short list. I don't know how they make these decisions. But I'm gonna read Bad Cree because I have this feeling that Bad Cree is gonna win. And a lot of people have said really good things about Bad Cree. It's about Mackenzie. She's in Vancouver. She seems to be bringing back items from her dreams. That's a really cool idea. I think the idea is that her life kind of spirals into a living nightmare. It sounds good to me. So I'm gonna read that for Canada Reads. I might read the short stories. Don't have a copy of the short stories, so we'll see. And I'm committed this month to quite a bit. And classes are in full swing, so I don't want to overdo it. Speaking of which, I am going to read The Crossed Keys. The Crossed Keys was one of the 2 books that I had selected for me by the BookTube Spin. I'm kind of excited to read this. This is supposed to be the inspiration for Wes Anderson's film, The Grand Budapest Hotel. And I've never read anything by Stefan Zweig before. So, and I think this is just a selection of writings. So I think that will be different and interesting. I managed to get the Forbidden Notebook out of the library. This is the book club pick for the classic for Thought's Patreon book club. And I've been wanting to read this because I've heard so many interesting things about it. This is a book that was very recently published. It's translated by Anne Goldstein, who is the translator of Elena Ferrante's books. And this book was written by a woman named Alba de Cespedes, I hope I'm saying that correctly, who was a Cuban-Italian feminist writer greatly influenced by the cultural developments that led to and resulted from World War II. She was jailed in 1935 for her anti-fascist activities in Italy, which to me is heroic, fascinating, intriguing. She was imprisoned a second time in 1943. 2 of her novels were banned, so we know that we have the banned books theme. I made a video about banned books, so that falls into my challenge to be reading books that were banned. 2 of her books, I don't think this is one of them that was banned, but 2 of her novels were banned, one in 1938 and one in 1940. And in 1943, she was again imprisoned for doing some work on a resistance radio, as a resistance radio personality known as Clorinda. Oh my goodness, she sounds fascinating. And so this, Valeria Cosati never suspected how unhappy she has become with the shabby gentility of her bourgeois life, until she begins to write down her thoughts and feelings in a little black notebook. In post-World War II Rome, paper is in short supply, and she acquires the notebook on a whim illegally from the tobacconist down the street. Embarrassed by this uncharacteristically impulsive act, she decides to keep the notebook hidden from her family. Why wasn't it published for so long? I wish I knew a little bit more about the background of this. If you know more, let me know. I'm sure I'm gonna find out and seek out more information about the Forbidden Notebook as I'm reading it, but I'm really excited to read those. I've heard really good things. It sounds fascinating. I just can't wait. I feel like I'm going to start it tonight, even though I'm reading 3 other books right now. And then I was really hoping to get to The Innocents by Michael Crummy. Still don't know how to say his name. This was on the long list for Canada Reads, and I was kind of thinking it might make the short list because he recently published another book. This is about a brother and sister who are orphaned. It's set in Newfoundland, and it's about their survival. So Jolene has an initiative that I think she's been doing for at least 2 years. I don't know how many years, but she has an initiative, the Reading Across Canada Challenge, and every month you read a book from or I think it could be poetry or short story from a different province across Canada. And the book club pick for February is The Innocents, and the discussion for it is going to be on February 20th. So I really want to join that if I can. I try to read books that are from Canadian authors quite often, and I don't always follow along with Jolene's guidance in the challenge, but I really am hoping to join in on this one. And please do check out Jolene's channel if you haven't already. And also, I want to challenge yourself to participate in the Reading Across Canada challenge, because it's an excellent, fun, interesting way to get more books into your library and into your consciousness that are written by Canadian authors, and I'm always for that. I'm really hoping to participate in that book club this month. There's just so many book clubs that I feel like I have to pick and choose every month and try to spread the love, but I just want to do all of them. I want to participate in all of them. Everyone seems to have a book club, so that's very exciting. My own book club, not any book club that I run, but my own book club that I'm in offline, is reading The Rachel Incident. We just chose that one last night, and I'm so excited. I couldn't be more excited to read a book because I've just heard so many good things about The Rachel Incident. It's a book, I think, that really explores the complexities of friendship and love. It's Irish too. She's Irish. Gotta love these Irish writers. So Rachel is a student working at a bookstore when she meets James. James soon invites Rachel to be his roommate, and the two begin a friendship that changes the course of both of their lives together. Rachel then falls in love with the married professor, Dr. Byrne, and James helps her devise reading at a local bookstore with the goal where she might seduce him. So that's the premise of the book. I don't know anything else about it. It sounds great. I've heard really good things about it, and I'm super excited that we chose it for our book club. It's also one of the books in the list of the 48 books for the BookTube Prize, I noticed, which is very exciting. It's not actually in my grouping, but I'm reading it anyway with our book club. That's bound to happen. You're bound to be reading some of the books, or have already read some of the books that were selected for the BookTube Prize this year. And in my division, I talked about how, I don't remember if you're watching this video before or after, I don't know, they're going up around the same time, but in the video that I made about the BookTube Prize and my grouping, I have the bee sting in my grouping, so I've already read the bee sting. Speaking of which, the two books, well, actually, I'll talk about the BookTube Spin, because they did do the big BookTube Spin. I was kind of waiting for the BookTube Spin and the BookTube Prize books before I could film my TBR. For the BookTube Spin, they spun, this is year-long TBR game that is hosted by Sarah from Freshly Read Books and Jill at the Book Bully, and they have a wheel that they spin every month, and you get a prompt. You pick 12 books at the beginning of the year, and then you try to fit one of the books into the prompts. The prompt for this month, so they pick a prompt every month. Did I say that? So the prompt for this month is to read something, a book that makes you feel like you're outside in the sun. I mean, the only two books that I have that could at all sort of fit with this would be Salvage the Bones, because it's set in Mississippi, and I think it takes place in a part of the world where the sun is probably pretty ruthless, and I know that it's about a hurricane. It's outdoors, so outside probably there's sun. But the one that I really want to read, which I don't know how I can make it fit into the prompt, is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. Amateur Dramatic Society disastrous staging of All My Sons. All My Sons, the word son. Is that enough? Probably not. But I feel like this is the type of book that I would read on a beachy vacation. So maybe that's enough. Because of that, maybe I can justify it, because I really want to read it. And I know that I'm reading a lot of heavier literary fiction books this month, especially because of the BookTube Prize. So I'm going with it. This is going to be my pick. That makes me feel like I'm out in the sun. Something lighter, something more fun, something that I would probably read on a beachy vacation. So speaking of the BookTube Prize, the two books that I'm going to read from the list in my grouping in February, but I won't be able to talk about them, just be forewarned. I won't be able to talk about them at the end of February. But I'm going to be starting out with Big Swiss by Jen Beagin, because I know I can get Big Swiss easily. It's been out for quite some time. And I'm also going to get Old God's Time by Sebastian. These are two books that I know I can get my hands on pretty easily, pretty quickly. Old God's Time was longlisted for the Booker. I can't recall whether it was shortlisted, but I don't think it was. It's about an old case involving a detective. I think he's an Irish writer too, Sebastian, if I'm not mistaken. And he is called on to look into an old case, and I think it dredges up a lot of stuff from his own past. Recently retired policeman Tom Kettle is settling into the quiet of his new home when someone knocks on the door. And I think it does have some dark themes to it. And then Big Swiss, which is kind of the woman unhinged. I kind of stayed away from it, to be honest, because it just didn't sound like something that I wanted to read. Necessarily wasn't really in the mood for, maybe felt like I'd read too many books with that kind of storyline. This woman, Greta, lives with her friend Sabine, and she spends her days transcribing therapy sessions for a sex coach who calls himself Ohm. I'm not sure. Not sure if I would have read Big Swiss if it wasn't in my grouping, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to like it. So I've heard that it's bold and a little bit outrageous, but we'll see. We'll see. I might actually really like it. Who knows? I think that there's probably enough darkness in that one to make it something that I might appreciate. Hard to say. So that's quite a few books. I mean, if I get all of these books read, I'll be super happy. I did go to the library and I did get a little distracted by a few books. Here, Rouge, which I've been waiting to come in. I'm halfway through Rouge. I've been reading it. I've been enjoying it. I know that Mona Awad's books are not for everyone. I know that her style can be a little bit repetitive. I will talk more about it when I do my January wrap up, as I'm almost finished it. It's going very quickly for me. I just love her writing. So it's not on my TBR for February, but I've been reading it. So, and then finally Enter Ghost came in, and it's on the list of 48 for the BookTube Prize, but it's not in my grouping, and I'm not sure that I'm going to have time to get to it. If that's the case, I'll just have to return it to the library and take it out later on in the year. But I would love to get to it if I could. And the other one that I picked up is August Blue, which is interesting because it's also on the BookTube Prize list of 48. But again, I don't think I'm going to get to it. Anyway, that's the joy of the library. I'm probably not going to get to August Blue either, but if I feel like it, you never know. I could come down with a cold. I could be in bed for a couple of days. It's always good to have a few options around. Just to say, August Blue was on the Globe and Mail's best books of the year. So I talked about it in that video. I tried to get my book club. I tried to convince my book club to read this one. It's about a woman who, she's like a virtuoso and she's on stage and she walks off stage and walks out of her life. And then she finds herself in another part of the world and I think there's a doppelganger involved in the story. So it sounds really good and it's not super long, so it's possible. It's always possible that I might get to one or both of these as well. Unlikely. It's not like necessarily a for sure thing. That, my friends, is the joy of having the library. I rarely read 11 books in a month, and especially not when we're back in school, but it's possible. There's my pile. So very excited for all of these books. A little kind of disappointed in Canada Reads. I'm sure I'll follow the debates, but I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Let me know your thoughts on any and all of the above in the comments below. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you just leave me a book in the comments below? Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Nola, I know you want my glasses, but you can't have them. No, you can't have my glasses, dude. I need them to see. I need my glasses to see. I can't see anything when I'm not wearing reading glasses. At least not up close. Oh. Come on. Come on, we're so close. No. No. I'm definitely committed to reading the, hey, get out of there. Granola, don't hump me. You just knocked over my pile of books.